Hi, I'm Sev, and your art sucks. Yeah, so let's take a quick look at what you made here. Okay, it's a person. I can see that. Right off the bat, I can tell line art is your passion, but you clearly gave up on the hair. Those eyes are soulless. It looks like you kind of just took your finger and smudged around in hopes to add depth. I guess that's what you would call shading. I don't even want to get started on the ears. Good Lord. I think this is supposed to be someone. I'm not sure. It's not ringing a bell, but wait a minute. Is that my art? But yeah, that was my art. Gotcha. Anyway, yeah, that was mine. I made that when I was like a child. I don't remember how old I was, but I was pretty young, still pretty new to drawing, and I think that was a celebrity. I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be Taylor Lautner during like the Twilight times. Very iconic. It doesn't look like him at all, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was supposed to be. And as you can tell, it wasn't very good at all. Bearing my insecurities out for all to see, which is great. But the main reason I wanted to show you that real quick is that my art sucks. And your art also sucks. But I also don't want you to feel alone. We're in this together, you see. So yeah, my art sucks, your art sucks, so our art sucks, okay? So this is for us, you and me. Even though that drawing was from a long time ago, from when I was a child, it might not seem very fair, but I just wanted to show an extreme example of like just a very bad drawing. Even compared to now, I'm glad I have improved, but I still feel like my art sucks. And I overanalyze and I criticize myself very harshly. And I just feel like I'm almost never satisfied with what I make. It's very hard to get to a point where I am fully satisfied. And I'm wondering if a lot of other people out there feel the same. I'm sure if you clicked on this video, maybe you do feel the same way. And hopefully I can help the both of us get to a better, healthier mindset when it comes to our current art, even if it sucks. So let's get into that. So with my current piece, why I think it sucks in my own perspective, I was trying, this is actually my first time attempting like an actual background for my art. I have always avoided backgrounds because they're frightening. I know nothing about them and they seem very complex and hard to achieve, but I love the way they look in other art pieces. Other people can make stunning, atmospheric backgrounds that evoke emotion and tell a story. And I want to do something like that, but it's like it's so intimidating. But you know what? Even though I knew it wasn't gonna be great, I wanted to try anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a piece that's gonna have a background. And I also felt like making something cyberpunky. I've never made something like that, and I was like, okay, we'll make a cyberpunk chick. And I also want to lean more towards an anime art style. I like watching anime, and I've always been drawn to anime characters and art, and I was like, why am I not making anime art? Let me try doing that. So this is my first attempt at making a character more anime, and I don't feel satisfied with it. I don't think I've succeeded. As you see here in the time lapse, I'm struggling quite a bit, not really satisfied with the colors. I have a lot to work on. I have a weak sense of color theory, values, and rendering. I think I want to achieve a certain style, but it's very hard for me to accomplish that. So there's just a lot of things I can say about this. Clearly, I can go on and on, but the point is, I feel like my art sucks, even now. Back then, it sucked, and I feel like it does now. It sucks. I'm not happy with it. And I'm sure too, some of you very well-trained eyes can clearly see all of the mistakes and what could be better. But that's that. I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure you can tell. And I'm sure maybe you also feel the same way about your own art, the kind of art that you're making right now. Maybe you don't have a good grasp on line art. Maybe it's just hard to get that perfect line or a confident line. Maybe you zoom in a lot if you're doing digital art in order to refine those teeny tiny details, because you can't do it when you're fully zoomed out. I'm calling myself out here right now, so it's okay if you do that. I do the same thing. I know it's a very amateur thing to do, but it's just still something that I struggle with. Maybe you suck at anatomy. Maybe you still struggle with hands. That's a common one. Maybe you suck at colors or rendering. Maybe you're great at sketching, suck at rendering. Maybe you're great at rendering and you suck at sketching. Everyone has different areas that they're struggling with in their art, that they're unsatisfied with, and that contribute to making their art suck. So I digress, but even though our art sucks, that doesn't mean it's just going to stay there, and that doesn't mean we should give up. Let me tell you why. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but bear with me. Bad art is imperative to your art journey. Yes, I said it. As I'm sure everyone is aware, not one artist, even some of your favorite artists, have been 100% satisfied with every single piece that they make. Unless someone is delusional, but that's a whole other can of worms. But you get my point. So yeah, making bad art is a good thing. It's kind of the point of being an artist. It's your journey to becoming a better artist, your timeline. I am sorry, but your art is not going to be perfect from the start, from the beginning, or even a few years into it. It's not going to be perfect or meet your ever-growing standards. That's just kind of how it works. You need to make bad art in order to make good art. I know that sounds super simple, but it's true. It's literally how you learn. Even though you feel like your art sucks, even if your art objectively sucks right now, you will eventually get to the point where you want to be, as long as you keep going and keep learning in a positive way. As you continue on your art journey, pushing through those sucky drawings, you'll begin to see your mistakes, you'll begin to learn from your mistakes and improve from there. That's kind of what makes your art journey so special. As frustrating as those bad pieces are, and how it can be mentally draining and discouraging, like making you think, why am I even doing art if I'm not good at it? Why can't I make the pieces that I want to look stunning and beautiful? I want it to please me and please others. It sounds contradicting, but the bad art is kind of like the special part of your art journey. It's what you kind of fondly look back on when you finally succeeded on your good art, on the pieces, your magnifique masterpiece, so to speak. I hope that makes sense. Another reason why it's okay that your art sucks is that it nurtures your creativity and helps you overcome the fear of failure. Let me explain. If you are trying to make the perfect piece every single time, I think you are actively stifling your creativity. You are choking your creativity. That creative flow that artists love so much, you're strangling it right now. That's not good. Seeking perfection might sound virtuous or like a positive characteristic, but especially when it comes to art and being creative, I feel like that can be destructive. Especially if you are just so focused on that, you forget that you're trying to create and express yourself. And it prevents you from creating freely, which I know it sounds scary because allowing yourself that kind of creative freedom can also lead to imperfection. And I think we can all do better with allowing a bit more of imperfection in our lives and in our art. And if you allow that kind of imperfection to seep into your work, as you sketch or as you create piece after piece, you might be surprised by what you discover. And I think that's really exciting, especially when it comes to art. So yeah. Another reason why it's okay to have art that sucks is that it helps build resilience. Once you get to the point of accepting that your art isn't going to be perfect every single time, I think that's where you start to see growth. Unironically, I'm being for real right now. And it's just that level of emotional maturity you get to as an artist that this one didn't really meet my current standards for myself, but that's okay. You know, instead of mulling over it and dwelling and letting it destroy you and then allowing art block to seep into your mind, like that ain't it. That ain't it. And once you get to that point of acceptance, you're able to move on to the next piece. You don't have to spend hours or days or weeks or months, God forbid, on the same piece. You can finish and move on and keep going. There could be several reasons, but think about how many sketchbook tours you've seen on YouTube. I know you've seen them, I watch them too, and I'm always amazed and impressed. I always admire people who fill out sketchbooks. I have literally never filled out a sketchbook in my entire life. It's a goal I have. I might make a video about it, but just think about those people. Do you think they allow themselves to be stopped by art that they're not satisfied with? Even if you think they're talented or skilled beyond belief, they might have their own harsh standards for themselves. They might hate some of their drawings, but they don't let that stop them. They keep going. They make sketch after sketch, spread after spread, piece after piece, and that's how they're able to fill out their sketchbooks, and that's how they're able to pump out several pieces. I just like to keep that in mind as like one of the pieces of motivation. There can be several. So if you think about those people as motivation, think to yourself, why should you be so hung up about this one sucky drawing? Get over it. You will eventually get better. Stop spending so much time dwelling on it. I know it's easier said than done. I thought of a few things that could help us get into a better headspace to start to accept our sucky art, because it's not gonna happen overnight. I wish it was that simple, but it's not. if you're as stubborn as me, it's, you know, it's not gonna be that easy. So let's see, let's get started. Yeah, reiterating my point, I can say all I want about how having bad art is actually okay and that it's not that bad. But actually getting to that point is the hard part. I'll tell you what, here's a few things that personally help me get to a better mindset of accepting my bad art. So what I think is the most obvious and the most simple way is comparing your current art to your old art. I know, unique, original, but I'm serious. Whenever you're getting these destructive feelings, you're becoming overwhelmed by your own imposter syndrome, I want you to take a moment to take some of your favorite current works that you've done, even if they're not perfect, even if you think they suck, and compare them to your old works. This could be from 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Any point really, I think will do just fine. Maybe mix it up every so often just to see the difference. And for me, that helps so much. Even if like my old art is a lot worse, there's this endearing quality that comes to looking at it, and like maybe even at the time you were kinder to yourself. I think when I was younger, I was a lot kinder to myself when it came to art, even though my present self looking back now, I'm like, that was trash, like that was garbage. Anyway, looking back, it's like these memories flood in on what you were thinking, what you were experiencing at the time. And for me, I really thought like my art was like awesome. I thought I did a good job. And I kind of smile back at that. It's like, aw, you have so much potential to do more, but you were so content with this at the time. I'm rambling, sorry, I'm rambling. So once you do make that comparison, you'll realize that you'll pretty much see some significant improvement and difference between old and current art. And I think this is also a lot more fair to yourself than comparing your art to much more skilled artists. But when you do compare your current art to more skilled artists, I think that is very unfair to do to yourself, because those artists are at a completely different journey in their art than you are, and you need to focus on your own art journey. I think you can view skilled artists as motivation. I think that is a healthy thing to do, to be like, ooh, I really admire their art style. I would like to someday make something similar to that, or I like this technique that they do. Use it as like a more of a positive like motivator than being destructive and thinking to yourself, why can't my art look just like theirs? They're so good, why should I even keep trying? I know we've all had thoughts like these at some point or another. So just be kind to yourself, please. And use your own art journey timeline as your own comparison, rather than comparing to other people's art who are more skilled, because I feel like you are just setting yourself up for failure when you do that. And I think you know too. Now, I know this isn't a catch-all. I know this won't work for everyone, because maybe some of you are very new to art, you've just started, so you don't really have a whole lot of old art to compare to, or maybe some old art isn't that different from what you're making right now, just based on your own art journey. So what I would recommend that you can do is go ahead and go take a look at some of your favorite artists, but not to compare your art to their current art. Look at their art journey, like their art timeline, go on their social media platform, go to some of their older posts and compare it to their newer posts where they show their art, of course, and you'll be able to see like the difference and how far they've come. Some of them make videos or make comparisons themselves. I'm sure you've seen those redraw videos of like redrawing the same thing after 5 years, or old sketchbook tours. Those are always fun. And this is just in case you can't compare your own art to your old art if you're still new in your journey, like I said. So that's another option that you can do. Just take a peek into someone else's art journey and realize that nobody starts off super skilled and talented. You work up to it, you build up to it. We all start from somewhere, and it's so easy to just look at one side instead of the whole picture. So I think this is a good exercise to remind ourselves progression exists, and it does differ. It does differ for all sorts of people. We're not all going to improve at the same rate. We're all going to have different strengths and weaknesses in art. You might be very skilled in anatomy, but your faces just aren't up to par. They're not at the same level, or vice versa, or a bunch of other things, and that's okay. That is just a part of your art journey, and we all have things that we need to work on. So I digress. I'm so sorry. I ramble a lot, but I'm so passionate. So I just hope that makes sense. I just want you to get to a point of understanding and stop being so destructive to yourself. So that's just one way to do it. That's one good way to go about it. My favorite way, to be honest. This other one is going to be a bit more nuanced than my previous one. It's something that I'm personally trying to learn and accept. So take this with a grain of salt, if you will. But it may take some time, but learn to embrace your mistakes and weaknesses. I think a lot of us can agree it can be very easy to notice what is missing or what is wrong with our art and what could be better. And it can also be super easy to hyperfixate on it, like the hand is wonky, or man, this color just isn't right. It's not harmonizing with like the rest of the piece. And then you spend a lot of time trying to fix that one thing. You change it, you adjust it, and time just goes by, and maybe you can't actually fix it even after all that time that you've spent on it. So unless you know how to fix that error in that moment, you're not going to be doing yourself any favors. You'll only become frustrated that you've spent so much time working on it and it just looks the same, or if not worse. Sometimes I will do something like that to my own art, and I will actually end up making it look worse, and then I feel even worse about my art because I spent so much time and energy on this thing that I just can't make work. And it's unfortunate to say, but in that moment, I just didn't have the skill level or the understanding to fix it. It's a harsh reality, but it's true. Sometimes you can't just make it better. You can't just improve it in an instant. Like, you're not quite there yet. When you notice yourself doing this and no improvements are being made, take a moment to stop and move on to another part in your piece. Just accept that you can't fix it yet and move on. It's okay to accept that you are weak in that particular area in your art at that time, just so you can finish the piece. Now, disclaimer. This is entirely dependent on the individual. Like I said before, we all have different strengths and weaknesses. So I'm not saying if something is hard to do to just give up on it and not try at all. This is something you'll have to understand on your own, what these kinds of weaknesses are. I think we can all know ourselves and know what we are actually very weak in and can't improve in that moment in time. So if it is technically hard to do, but you're able to do it still, I would suggest obviously doing it and fixing the area that you know how to fix. But I'm saying that there are some things you don't know how to do yet, and it will take some time to build that skill and understanding, and then you'll be able to get to a point where you'll be able to improve those things. It will take some time, and for now, you will just have to accept that weakness. Speaking of weaknesses and trying to improve them, you should have dedicated times to work on these weaknesses so you don't have to feel frustrated that you can't improve those parts. So these dedicated times are called studies, which are solely intended for you to practice and learn on how to improve your art and focus on improving your weaknesses. Having these art studies are great, so your time being creative and having fun isn't compromised. So keep those two areas separate. If you combine them, I feel like you're going to be very frustrated. At least I feel that way. I know I rambled on quite a bit and I probably didn't have anything earth-shattering to say, but I just wanted to share my thoughts, my art insecurities, and I hope something that I've said resonates with you in some way. But yeah, tell me what you think. You agree with some things, disagree with other things. Give me your own thoughts, your own ideas. I would love to hear them genuinely. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please hit like and subscribe, because I look forward to making more videos similar to this. I'll just be talking about art stuff, and I want to build a community of artists who have the same struggles and desires, and I just like having friends. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna try working on my next video, but yeah, that's it. Let's go make some sucky art. Bye. I don't know what I'm doing.